Hey everyone, J-Rod Plays here, and today's video is going to be going over how to handle the new Shriekers. Now that they've confirmed to be in the game by both the devs and by Super Earth, there was just too much evidence for them to deny, and you're going to start to see them more often. And the way you'll see the Shrieker nest, it's the same way you see the spores at a distance. In this case, they're going to be 3 spores, usually grouped together, and you're going to see the Shriekers, of course, spawning around them. They do spawn at a certain distance, so when you get to about 175-ish meters from the nest, you're going to start to see Shrieker spawn. So if you're outside of that and you have long-range weapons, you can take them out as well. And I'll go more into detail on that once we get to the point of taking out the nest. First, I want to talk about how we're going to be handling the Shriekers themselves. Now, for the armor setup, just so you know what I'm running, I have a light armor for the bugs. You're always going to want to make sure that you're mobile. And I have the increased grenades. The grenade that I'm going to be running is going to be the stun grenade. The reason why I'm running the stun grenade is so that you can control enemies on the ground while you're dealing with the Shriekers. You can also still run an impact grenade just like normal, or a regular high explosive grenade if you're used to the delay timing, but I tend to like the impact grenade because you throw it out there and it kills anything it hits in that small radius. You can also run smokes if you're just trying to hide and get away, but I prefer either the impact or the stun grenade. And I recommend running a stratagem with a quick cooldown time, such as the orbital gas strike, the Eagle airstrike, or the Eagle cluster bomb. Something that's got a nice quick cooldown so you can get them out quickly. You can take care of hordes that are pushing you. That way you can get back to killing the Shriekers, because that's going to be the main problem. Is you can lay on the ground and not really worry about the Shriekers too much, but when the Shriekers start to get at you, because you have to move around, since the adds on the ground are where they're going to displace you, the enemies on the ground are going to be the ones that make you move. That's where they get dangerous, where you combine the Shriekers with like a group of hunters, for example, something that's going to press you really hard. So those are those stratagems I recommend, especially if you're running Eagle airstrike. The Eagle airstrike is also useful on the nest, and I'll get into that when I go into kind of which stratagems are best for taking out the nest, as well as any support weapons that are good for taking out the nests. The primary weapons that I recommend are going to be the LAS-16 sickle. That's going to have a very nice long range and accurate way of dealing with them. You can shoot their wings off, you can hit them in the body very accurately. It's got a good rate of fire, and if you stagger your shots, you can have pretty much infinite ammo. Although the way that the Shriekers are concentrated currently, it's really hard to take down about 5, 6, or 7 of them without having to reload and put in a new core. So you get ready to have to reload with this. It's not going to always have infinite ammo. Another good alternative primary weapon is going to be the Slugger. Not everybody has this, of course, because it's far down in the war bond, but if you do have this, it has very good reliable one-hit kills to the body. You can even take out wings, of course, here and there, but you want to try to aim for the body the best you can, because you have a limited amount of rate of fire, versus the LAS. You can pretty much just lay on the thing and mow through them and kind of catch them like you would like a fighter pilot trying to get in front of a fighter jet. So those are the 2 weapons that I recommend. For the secondary, of course, you're just going to go with the Redeemer, just in case you have to pull this out to handle bugs on the ground or try to catch one swooping down at you, which you have to be really careful about because they're very dangerous right now. They're a little bit broken with their body. Once you kill them, they can fly into you and they can kill you with their body. I even had a funny scenario where I shot one over my teammate and it fell straight down onto my teammate and killed my teammate, which was hilarious to say the least. A third option as far as weaponry is kind of a niche option. Not everybody's going to have it. It's going to be in the Steeled Veterans War Bond, and that's going to be the Incendiary Breaker. And the reason why the Incendiary Breaker is really good is because it doesn't take a whole lot of shots to kill a Shrieker. A single pellet hitting a Shrieker will light it on fire and eventually kill it. So once you see the Shrieker light on fire, you don't have to worry about it. I've even seen Shriekers bump into other Shriekers and light them on fire, kill any enemies that are coming down on the ground, for example. When their bodies land, they can kill other little enemies. So the Incendiary Breaker is a really, really nice option, and something that you can run as long as you are comfortable with how long it takes to kill enemies that are on the ground. It's not an ideal gun to deal with a lot of hordes on the higher difficulties where you're getting pushed by a ton of hunters, warriors, broodmothers, things like that. This is not going to do very well. You're going to have some other option or some other way to take those things down, like stratagems. A support weapon like Arc Thrower, once they reinstate that, would be a nice complement to this. Something that you can use again and again and again to take out all the little stuff, while you're using this specifically just for the Shriekers, to burn them down and clear a way to get to drop a Hell Bomb, for example, on the nests, or you get your orbital in. Now let's talk about movement tactics that are going to be effective against the Shriekers. So there's a few ways to survive around the Shriekers, even when you're being pursued by things on the ground. The first of which is going to be to dodge the Shrieker as it's coming in, using your normal dodge, diving to the ground, for example, and then getting back up again. The second option is if you see the Shriekers coming from a certain distance and you strafe to that direction, the Shrieker will miss you usually with its dive attack, and then it'll just kind of pass you by and you can turn around and shoot it as it's going away from you. Then the other option, this one's going to be a more stationary option, so it's not ideal if you have a bunch of stuff on the ground around you, is going to be just to lay down on the ground, and the Shriekers will swoop down on you, and more often than not, they'll miss you. Every now and then they may graze you a little bit and take a bit of your health, depending on what armor you're using, but for the most part, laying down on the ground is going to be a great way to keep the Shriekers from doing damage to you, although you are limited on how high you can aim when you're on the ground, so unless the Shriekers are in front of you in your cone where you can actually shoot, or if you turn on your back and the Shriekers in a way that you can shoot there as well, you're going to have to get up to take care of the Shriekers that are floating higher above you. You'll also have to get up, of course, if you're being pursued by enemies on the ground, so this only works if you have a clear moment and it's just you and the Shriekers. Now that we can avoid dying from the Shriekers directly, we have to then tackle the nest. That's going to be the main objective, is to knock out the Shrieker nest. They're usually 3 mushrooms that are all around each other, or spores, if you would call them, all around each other. And the way I believe that Arrowhead intended for you to deal with these is through the objective manner. When you get into the range of the Shrieker's nest, as you're standing below it, you'll actually have the ability to call in a Hellbomb. If you call in a Hellbomb in a good position in between the 3 Shrieker nests, and you're able to then activate it without the bugs destroying it and getting an interrupt on you, then you get away, of course, safely. It will blow up and it'll kill all the 3 of the Shrieker's nest all at one time. So you don't have to worry about killing one at a time, one at a time, one at a time. Now, the safer methods to deal with it are going to be to deal with it with either stratagems or support weapons. For the support weapons, you can deal with it in a few shots, like 2 or 3 shots of the expendable anti-tank or recoilless rifle. You can also deal with it if you put a whole clip from a autocannon into it. I believe it's around 8 shots or so from an autocannon, and you can just reload and take out the second one, and reload and take out the second one. Now, the game does try to attack you as soon as you start to take down the Shrieker nest, and a lot of times I see that bugs will come after me from nowhere, or a patrol will hear the shots and then come to me and try to interrupt me as I'm taking out the Shrieker nest. So if you're playing as a team, have your teammates cover you, so that way you can take out the nest safely from a distance, and that way you get the objective done. You can move on to the next objective. If you happen to be still rocking railgun in unsafe mode, you can also use the railgun, although it takes a ton of ammo. It takes almost the whole clip. I think it's like 14 or 15 shots in unsafe mode to take down just one of the Shrieker nests, and you have to do that again for the other 3, so you'd have to like drop a resupply, hang out outside of the distance of the Shrieker nests, hope that you don't get attacked by a patrol, and then you can kill the Shrieker nests from long distance that way as well. You can also put down a manned turret and just sit there and wail on them, and if any bugs come in your path, of course, you can just mow them down with the turret. I don't know how many shots it takes, because it takes like a ton of actual shots, but you should be able to clear all 3 of them before it runs out of ammo, and as long as you have a nice stationary position and you're outside of the range of Shrieker spawning, then this is also a safe method to take care of them as well. The Patriot Walker, the mech, can actually kill these as well, a few rockets per house. House being the mushrooms of the spore. And you can also use the support laser. It takes a ton of fire to do it, but if you have enough support cover so you can focus only on the Shrieker spore, then you'll be able to eventually mow down all 3 of them before the thing overheats, as long as you're pacing your shots, of course. Now let's move on to the stratagems that are effective against the nests. So for the orbitals, the orbital precision strike will take down a Shrieker nest, one of the 3. You'd have to do, of course, 3 orbital precision strikes, which is not ideal. You can also hit them with the orbital 380mm barrage. Now that can take down the entire nest, although of course it's dangerous because the barrage is random, and you have to hope that the barrage actually hits the nests directly. If it hits anywhere around it, it won't take down the nest, so you may end up with maybe 1 nest still standing after a full orbital 380mm barrage. But it is a good chance that you can get in there, drop the barrage in the center of the nest, and then run away and deal with any horde that's following you while you're away from the nest, and the barrage will do its thing and take out the nest for you completely. As far as the orbital laser, unless it's actually focused on something underneath the Shrieker nest, it's not really going to do anything. It's not really going to hit it there. And as an orbital rail cannon strike, of course, is going to only focus on the things that are on the ground, not necessarily the nests themselves. Now for the Eagles, the Eagle airstrike is a very effective choice because it can take out not only just 1 of the nests at a time, but if you line it up just right, it'll actually knock down 2 out of the 3, and then you can deal with the 3rd one by some other means. So it's very good. You would think that the 500-kilogram bomb would be a way to go in this instance. However, it still only takes out 1 nest per 500k bomb. I've tried to kind of place it in between the two, and it just didn't really have the same impact. If you put it directly on, of course, then it'll take out, no problem, one of the nests. So you could do like an Eagle airstrike for 2, and then you can hit the 500k bomb for the third one. Those are the best options that I've seen so far between the Eagle and the orbital stratagems in order to take down the Shrieker nests. And then, of course, coming back, the Hell Bomb is a way that's kind of, if for whatever reason you're out and you need to take out another one, you can always get a Hell Bomb to drop in, although it's easier said than done, because it's difficult to get in there, get the Hell Bomb armed, and get out without being swarmed by a bunch of enemies and having the enemies kill the Hell Bomb like we were looking at earlier. So Helldivers, that does it for the tips and tricks on how to deal with the Shriekers. They're actually not that bad once you get used to how to take them down, your engagement ranges, if you can take them down from a safe distance. It's actually a pretty easy objective. At first it seemed fairly overwhelming because they were new and nobody really knew how to deal with them. Hopefully they fix the body issue whenever they fall and they kill you with one hit kill. That shouldn't be a thing. Their hitbox is like really big. Even though they don't really hit you, they'll still end up killing you. So that's kind of a buzzkill there. But once you know how to deal with them, not too bad. By the time you see this video, we'll probably be done with our major order to free the 4 planets. We already had 2 out of the 4 after Defend was done, so we should be wrapping that up soon. Thanks very much for watching to the end of the video. I appreciate all my new subscribers, and I'll see you guys in the next one.